are live. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. Hope all of you are making it going. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. Carter, the Power Bryant. Now, normally, as always, joins us on Mondays, but we did the post-game show yesterday. Obviously, we had the college football playoff. Weren't going live on a Monday after the post-game. Couldn't really do that. So we're moving Carter to Tuesday. Good to have him here. It's not as if that we don't have a lot to talk about him with, because he's absolutely 1,000% going viral because of the video he posted from Jock Duce about Mekhi Wingo, which will lead off our Ruffino's rants here tonight. That right there is, like, for me, like a massive issue. It's a massive issue. Regardless of what's said publicly, what's even said behind, it doesn't matter. That is out in the public for every LSU fan to see. I'm not saying you make decisions based off of what a guy declared from today to go into the NFL, but if you got players doing that while they know that, and look, I don't know if Mekhi Wingo knew that the camera was there. Regardless if he knew the camera was there. And if you even haven't seen the video and you're like, Blake, what are you even talking about? Well, today there was a video that was posted of Matt House walking up to Mekhi Wingo and he completely not wanting to talk to him. It was published on Twitter. How you hadn't seen it by now, I have no clue. No clue. But nevertheless, it's still out there. We'll touch on that a little bit here tonight. Lance Hurd officially hits the transfer portal. We'll touch on that. Mekhi Wingo, Bryant Thomas Jr. both entered their names into the draft. Carter Bryant at 7:30. We'll talk a little bit about the college football playoff. And as we do every Tuesday and Thursday, hashtag Ask Blake, thoughts, questions, concerns. Fire them inside the Rudy Crew chat. You already know what it is. You do send a super chat. We will get to those questions first. We got a lot to discuss. We'll do even a Wisconsin versus LSU recap, going back, watching the game. What did I think? I thought it was an amazing performance by one Garrett Nussmeier, so lots and lots and lots to discuss. Mark Smith, right out of the gate with a $9.99 super chat, says, Blake, what offensive line blocking schemes changes does Brad Davis need to make to get the running game fixed now that JD is gone? I don't really think scheme for him needs to change anything. Watch the 49ers, all traps and pulling guards. Why LSU can't do it. So, Mark, number one, that's not something that is dictated by Brad Davis. That 1,000% is dictated based off the play that's been called. And if that's the design, we'll talk on that. I think that they got to get better in the running game with Jane Daniels not here. Have to. I think that they will. I mean, I said yesterday that it's got to get better. People took it as like I said they can't get better at all, which is not what I said. What I said, you got to get better there. You got to develop. And I didn't make it a big talking point. Well, I should have known that LSU fans would take it and run with it. It's going to be base dictated off of the play. So nothing that Brad Davis can do there. Now, can he teach techniques and different? These guys have another year of experience, bigger, faster, stronger, going into another offseason. That completely dictates it. Now, we'll talk about Lance Hurd too. I know that we'll talk a lot more about the offensive line tonight than we normally do, because even as an O-line guy, we always overlook them. Todd Davis says, Blake, I likes the brown sugar. Todd's it's an elite Pop-Tart. Now, I did go get one. I did not after that show, but I did go get one. I wanted my son to experience what a brown sugar Pop-Tart would taste like, with it warmed up in the toaster and a large glass of milk. Hanka says that video in the post game with Mekhi Wingo and Matt House was rough for Matt House. I agree. Dane says, Blake, you Pop-Tart eating hater. I make one comment about Pop-Tarts and it goes viral. Where are you? I'm right here. Here I am. How do you do? Josh says, people that have kids, you know exactly what I just said. Daddy finger. That. It's a bad song because it will completely get taken out of context. But if you have kids and they have an iPad, you will know exactly what that means. 1,000%. Josh says, Blake, do you know anything about the decision to put Harold Perkins in at running back for the first score? Yeah, just a trick play in a bowl game. You know, maybe does it lead to something else? Who knows? I mean, I had not been told either way. But it's a trick play in a bowl game. You know what's even crazier? Texas does it. Texas actually does it all the time. They put their defensive linemen in the backfield in those heavy packages, and yesterday they gave them a ball to score, or did a fullback dive for Byron to score. So yeah. Mekhi Wingo did come out and say that what he said was not what we'll talk about tonight. He says, I was emotional after the game, which is why I was looking around, LOL. I was letting him know that I was done with school. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Come on. That's not what happened. His body language was complete. That's not what happened. I know what he said. He's trying to calm it down. That's not what happened at all. All right. Lots to discuss. Let's talk about our good friend. Oh, you're right. I see you in the chat. I know. Where are you watching the show from tonight? You in the 985-225-504-337-318. Or if you're just not in the state anymore, but you're from here, where are you from? Rob said, Blake, warn me if you're going to do an F-bomb. I'm listening with my daughter. I am sorry. Did I F-bomb today? Did I? I don't think that I send an F-bomb y'all's way. Not on a casual Tuesday. Chance Babin says, think Hurt is definitely going, or is he still negotiating with him? We'll talk about it. We'll see. All right. Lots to discuss. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. If you're on Facebook, share, like the page, share it to all those social media groups. If you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate you guys doing that for us. Talk about our good friends over at BetOnline and our good friend Tyler Alexander, which, man, look, if you're a realtor and you're looking to switch teams, why not go to the number one realtor in the state of Louisiana? Give them a call. And you do not have to be in the local area. Maybe if you're out of state and you want to do something, give Tyler Alexander a call. His team is growing he just through the roof. Now over at LPT Realty, they will get your home sold too if you need it. Let them know that Blake sent you on by. Gotta pay the bills. We'll be right back. Mekhi Wingo, Rafino's Rants, Lancer, Mekhi Wingo, Bryant Thomas, all in the draft. Not all three of those. Not all three of those. You know what I mean. Two of those guys obviously going into the NFL draft, not Lancer. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Let's talk about it. Do it next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events, with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
We're back.
All right. Tons and tons and tons to get to. If you do want to comment red like Daniel Edwards does right here, who sends us a $10 super chat, says, after rewatching the game, it seemed in fairness that House had players in position to make plays and our guys did not make plays. You have to make plays at this level. It's interesting because that is – so in the topics, I put hashtag Rufino's rants ×2. In my personal opinion, Daniel 100% hit our second one. We'll touch on that. Thank you, Daniel, for the super chat. Give me like 3 or 5 minutes. We're talking about that specific point in a more deep down dive. All right. Also, Devin Johnson with a $199 super chat. He says, will LSU get it right year 3? No more excuses. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of question marks in there, Devin. Lots and lots and lots of question marks that need to be answered. Like, there are question marks that have to be answered before we talk about that more. But since Daniel, okay, ask this first. We'll talk about this, okay? In our first little Rufino's rants, we'll talk about Mekhi Wingo Lansard in just a second. Going back and watching the game last night, I 1,000% agree with Daniel in the super chat with, man, there were a lot of times yesterday that I thought that players were put in a right position to make plays against Wisconsin. Like, lots of positions. You had multiple times that you could have sacked Tanner Mordecai, right? Like, sending the heat, sending the pressure, sending the blitz. Now, you finally got there in that last drive. You 100% in that last drive got there 3 times. Jefferson got the strip sack. You have Mekhi Wingo and then Greg Penn there at the end, closing the game out. You were put in good positions. Whit Weeks earlier in the game that could have had another sack that would have ended a scoring drive that they had, a touchdown scoring drive, I might add, as well. But this is in no way and this kind of runs a little bit into one another from Daniel's point of view in the sense of that this is in no way to say whatsoever that I think that Matt House should stay, will stay, even wants to stay here. What I will say is that if we're going to talk about just 2023 now that the season is over in general, which we'll do a lot of with Carter Bryant in just a moment, you got to look at the entire season and even start asking the question, well, hey, man, you fixed some things schematically against Wisconsin, and it did not change. You ran man-to-man coverage. You did some good things by sending pressure all day long. You still gave up 31 points against an offense that is not that good. You did not have opt-outs, right? Like, you did not have opt-outs on the defensive side for you to say, well, you know what, man, we'll give them a break in the bowl game because there weren't guys there. No, everybody that could play did play. Like, Jane Daniels didn't play defense and him sit out, right? Like, it wasn't as big of a differential. You're going to have to look yourselves in the mirror and say to yourself, like, look, man, the way that we fix things defensively, number one, it starts with the players, leadership and accountability for everybody to look themselves in the mirror and say, we have to be better. Like, we have to get to our ceiling, our college ceiling. What is our ceiling in college? We have to get there a little bit sooner. We got to take this a little bit more in focus and say to ourselves, like, hey, man, last year was on us. Exactly what the offense did. Remember last year, a lot of you having questions about the offense? You had questions after questions. Well, is Jane Daniels going to actually throw the ball down the field this year, or is he going to take off and run? Well, the truth is, he did both. I mean, and he did both at an elite, not good, not great, but an elite level. Those guys, regardless if they stay on staff, the coaches that stay on staff, or you get fired, the players are the ones that have to look themselves in the mirror and say, we got to get better, along with their head coach. Like, everything that happens, good, bad, or indifferent, falls under the head man. He knows that. He's been doing this for 33 years. This will be his 34th season. He knows that. Right? Like we're acting like he hasn't been in this position before. Guys, he's been in this position multiple times at Notre Dame. Maybe not this bad, maybe not this bad of a defense, but this bad in how one area is so proficient and the other one is not. Now, I thought, I'll get Carter's question, I thought it was Matt House's best called game of the year. Was it good? No, not really. I mean, but I thought it was the best call game he had. And that is if that's his ceiling, all right. But he still didn't call. I thought his game plan was phenomenal. I got to be real with you. He played bump and run, man-to-man coverage. He mixed in some zones. He could not get home with the four guys. He would get in situations, and he would send the heat. Multiple times you ran the ball on the outside. You got players there that have to make the play. They have to make tackles. So that might make you say, okay, well, what is Blake trying to ultimately get at with here? Is it scheme? Is it coaching? Sure, I'm sure there's a lot to that. A lot of it is. He's got to get the best out of them. Even though I don't like that excuse, I'm going to use it. But he's not. Like he's not. And the reason I know that he's not and why I don't think that you can change. So if the players got to develop, look themselves in the mirror and get better, I think they will do that. Like I have a lot of faith that they have leadership on that defense that will do that and get them there. What I don't have the confidence in, right now, man, quite honestly, it's just Matt House to some extent. And it's not so much from a play calling aspect. What for me, what it is, there is a video that came out today of an interaction with Matt House and Mekhi Wingo. I know that Mekhi Wingo came out and said that, man, that was just emotional, and he could have been. I don't think he's a liar. He's probably telling the truth. But even if that's what he said to him, the body language in which the video that's circulating between the interaction at the end of the game between Matt House and Mekhi Wingo was not good. So you have a coach, a defensive coordinator, coming up to arguably one of the best defenders that you have on the team, and him telling him, come, and Matt House, you can hear him, says, hey, man, you guys won us the game there at the end. You guys, talking to the defensive line, you guys won us the game there at the end. His body language was like, man, get out of my face. I don't want, get out of my face. Mekhi Wingo is the public tipping of the iceberg. What do I mean by that? Now everybody knows, like, you have heard the rumor. Like, there has been a rumor that Matt House has not had the ability to reach players. Like, that rumor's been out there his entire tenure at LSU. You just got a video that showed it. Right? Like, now you have a video that's out there that showed it. So, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to come in here right now before I know definitively and tell you I know what's going to happen along the defensive coaching staff. What I will tell you is that will live with you the entire offseason of if Matt House does come back, right? Then what? Or even if he doesn't, man, what could have been if Matt House could have been better? It's not all on him. It's not all on him. We blame him for every single thing that happened. To an extent, it's Ed Orgeron's fault for allowing that roster to fall the way that it did. It's Brian Kelly's fault a little bit because they weren't able to fix it. And I 100% believe him that he tried all year. But I go back into the game, right? Like I go back into the game that we had yesterday. and LSU and Wisconsin played, we talked about a lot. There's not a lot of differences that changed for me offensively. Like, guys, I'll be real with you. The same thing that I thought yesterday in the postgame show is the same thing that I think today, even going back and watching it. I think Garrett Nussmeier in this offense started off slow, was to be expected. It's his first start. He goes down 14 points. And the young quarterback that we had seen at LSU in his tenure would have been rattled. Like, we saw Garrett Nussmeier get rattled against Southern because he had to go out there and make plays. But he was poised and he was confident and he didn't get out of it. He didn't, let the moment get too big for him. He settled down. Guys, this is what a third-year backup quarterback with the talent that he has should look like. It's old school, but here we are. Like, it's old school, but here we are. And I think the kid is poised to have a really good game. There was a lot of question marks that he answered. Garrett Nussmeier going down on a 98-yard drive there at the end to win you the football game. Guys, it's a legacy drive. It's a baton. It's passing the baton from Jane Daniels to Garrett Nussmeier. Offensively, I look at like what Kylan Billiot, the wide receiver that LSU signed in this class, he is absolutely destroying dudes at the All-American game. I know that you got talent and you're going to be okay on offense. We got a commitment coming up tomorrow in Harlem Berry. On January the 6th, we have a commitment coming from the number one player in 2025 in Bryce Underwood. I do not fear Brian Kelly at all when it comes to what you are doing on the offense. Zero. Everything falls to what I went back and watched to literally this morning and rewatching the film against LSU and Wisconsin and saying to myself, it's not just one area that you're bad in. It's not just solely one thing. There's not solely one thing that when you look at this team that you're good or bad in. It's not just Matt House. It's not just Robert Steeples. It's not just John Jancic. It's not just the players. And you're going to have a massive offseason. To be real with you, you're going to have an offseason like you did in 2022. I mean, from a defensive side of things, you're not going to get there because you're not attacking the portal that well. But the way that you do things, being disciplined, coaches can make a very big difference. Coaches can make a massive difference, and they do. They 100% do. Okay? But players play. You can put dudes in right positions. This defense was literally put in the position over and over and over again on defense. Couldn't make the play on a lot of those things. Missed tackles, missed assignments. The running play, the 34-yard running play to give Wisconsin 28. Basically, guys, the entire defensive line got bullied. They got bullied. Jacoby and Guillory gets washed down, massively on a double team, leaving a gaping hole on the backside, and the running back goes through it and he scores. He's not even touched. He's not even remotely touched. That doesn't happen that might happen against average defenses every now and then. Like maybe even late in the game when you're tired and the depth chart starts to show. That does not happen to good defenses. Ever. You might get one. Occasionally that happens. But it just, you're not there. And that is the big concern for me. It 100% is the biggest concern for me. I think you can, I think the way that you're built offensively, you can roll out of bed and win 9 games in a regular season. With the coaching and everything that you got going on. You are walking out of bed, winning 9 games because of the confidence that I have in what they're doing on offense. Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton, Mike Denbrock leaves. All right, we got 2 really damn good players. What they did, they had a really good game in a first start of a quarterback. Like that, I mean, that's it, guys. First start, they look good. They were good enough because they're going to get better. Garrett Nussmeier will be better. This team will be better because he's getting a lot of game reps. What you're doing on the outside at wide receiver, I mean, look, man, no worries. You're doing the way that you're recruiting offensively, you can win a national title, in my opinion. Like, you can be national title caliber, a national title picture holder every year. I think that you're there. Going into year 3, I think that you're there. Now, a lot of people will argue me on that. But I think that Brian Kelly, who is an offensive guy, a very, very good coach, has established what they can do on offense. They got to pick it up in some areas. But you're recruiting at such a high level. Such a high level you're recruiting at on offense. Guys, Harlan Berry in 4 or 5 days, in the next 5 days, there's a chance that you're getting the number 1 running back in the country. There's a really good chance you're getting the number 1 quarterback and number 1 player in the country at quarterback. If things stay the same that they are right now. At least committed. At least committed. So, yeah, I think you're doing pretty freaking good. You could be a coaching staff turnover away, man. Like, and I know that I've talked a lot of bad about the personnel and had question marks. But we'll see. Very quickly before I get to Carter the Power Bryant, let me make one mention on Lance Hurd. Okay. It was official today that LSU offensive tackle, former 5-star offensive lineman Lance Hurd entered the transfer portal. I'm going to say this because I've already brought it up before, and I don't feel like I need to go into a massive ordeal here. On his right shoulder, he has a tattoo. And on that tattoo, it says money over something. What does it say? Hold on. I probably should have written it down. Why I didn't write it down? An 18-year-old kid's tattoo is beyond me. But the tattoo says money over everything. The dude's literally got it tatted on his shoulder. In the past, it would be a massive hit for you. A massive, massive hit for you. Okay. Go be where you want to be. Go be, go to Ole Miss, go somewhere else. Okay. We're recruiting too high a level to worry about being held hostage. Daniel Edwards with a $20 super chat says, I'm concerned that we are losing the NIL war and that we have to recruit knowing that every 3 or 4 years we will compete for a natty, whereas a school like Bama and Georgia will be in the playoff every year. Well, Georgia's not in the playoff this year. Collectives matter. We have a collective. You guys, and look, Daniel, let me just say this. You have one of the biggest donors of that collective coming out and say that we have money. The problem is I think there is – I don't think you're behind in reference to the money you will spend because you're getting 5 stars. You're going into Texas and getting Weston Davis. You're still in the top 10. What I will say is you're a better defensive line recruiting class away from being top 5 again. And that should tell you all that you need to know. If you're in the top 5, you're nitpicking at that point to some extent. And you're not done, right? Like, you're not done. Terry Bussey's still out there. And you got guys like Kylan Billiot destroying 5 stars in the All-American. All right, last one before we get to Carter. D. Smith with a $199 super chat says, football god made Texas lose for us to get Bo Davis. Maybe he did. Maybe the football gods did do that. But you know what the football gods, and thank you, D. Smith, for the super chat. You know what the football gods did do? They connect us with our next guest and longtime guest, comes on here every week, is Carter Bryant. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll get to Carter, the Power Bryant. Everybody hits the like and share during the break. But let me talk about our good friends over at Avid Inspection Specialists, residential and commercial inspections. Guys, listen, if you need mold inspections, lead inspections, asbestos inspections, drone inspections, they do it all. With their 11-month new home warranty inspections, there's nothing they can't do. AvidSpecialist.com. That's AvidSpecialist.com, or give them a call. 225-717-5591. That's 225-717-5591. Let them know that your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. LHI number 11331. Let's talk to our good buddy Carter Bryant. We do that next. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
Carter the Power Bryant. Boy, did you go viral today.
Wild day. So funny story. I always like to get feedback from everyone. Okay. And I tweeted out the clip because I was actually going to lead with that with my show tonight. And I knew we were going to talk about that today. And I just wanted some thoughts because the only reason I clipped the tweet is because it was part of like a 3-minute montage. So I didn't think it was going to go crazy and Mekhi respond to it. Obviously, I love Mekhi Wingo. After the end of a game, all kinds of things are happening. And look, what I'm about to say has nothing to do with his reaction. I just found it interesting. Okay. So yeah, it was awkward to watch that, but I do think Mekhi was just in the moment. You're soaking in that it's time for the next level, but I do truly believe that there's something to that. What say you?
Listen, I like Mekhi Wingo a lot. I think he's one of my favorite players. I think he's a dedicated person. I think that he came here in a time when we desperately needed him. He worked himself into a starter. Hell, he worked himself into being voted in as a captain, the captain, number 18, the captain. I don't care what he tweeted to you because I can tell, but I am a body language expert, and that body language told me that he does not like Matt House. And we'll talk about this tonight, Carter. The way that I led off the show was talking about, hey, man, yesterday was, to me, Matt House's best call game maybe at LSU. You didn't make plays. Like, yesterday's personnel, you did not make plays whatsoever. You should have sacked Tanner Mordecai 7 times yesterday. 7. There's no reason that they should have had 14 points. I mean, none. But you get down early. You got a new quarterback. That body language, though, okay, tells me what I need to know about what your leader, your captain, feels about Matt House. If this was a freshman and a freshman's just being all cool, yeah, whatever, 18-year-old kid, this is a 22-year-old kid. Like, he's been around the block.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the smartest high football.
Maybe we should have given context for anybody who just joined us. But basically, Matt House walks up to Mekhi Wingo. He starts telling him, like, hey, man, you know, you guys won it for us there at the end, the way that you played. And Mekhi Wingo's body language is like he just dismissed Matt House, wouldn't look him in the eye.
Yeah, here's my thing. I do agree with you that Matt did do a better job. And the first touchdown in particular, the defensive call was perfect. You just need a corner to make that play. Right. You got unblocked pressure home. Okay. What I would also say about this, Blake, is Matt, outside of the Wingo situation, has just been a disaster this year. I mean, that nothing about the tweet, nothing about what Wingo had to say changes my opinion of the LSU defensive coordinator situation. It's bad. And it was another really poor defensive performance. I do agree, though, that Matt did a better job calling defensive sequences in this game, in particular in the first half. So I give him a lot of credit for that. And I do give Matt House a lot of credit for doing what we begged him, and in particular you begged him to do, put Mason Smith as a zero-tech nose. It was the same exact thing that got Greg Penn the big interception to end the game versus Texas A&M. And it was also the same thing that ended this game. So Matt started doing some basic things that got Mason in particular to make plays. And you've been in particular you have, and rightfully to a certain extent, have been calling out Mason Smith, make some plays. Mason finally made big time plays in these last 2 games of the season. So Matt did a lot to get Mason in the right spot to make those plays.
I have my hand raised.
Go on ahead, dude. You gotta.
Your Honor, I testify to the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Okay.
Did not what I say that they needed to do with their defensive line, they not do against Washington from a passing game standpoint, and it win.
Yeah, it did.
1,000%. I know it did because I fucking said it should have. Sorry if I said that, because I'm so aggravated, Carter, that if you've been around the game long enough, you know this kind of stuff. Like you're gonna have, if you cannot get home at 4, all right, you're giving up the pass play anyway. You're playing passive aggressive on the back end. You're playing zone. Well, you can't. It's a defeatist mindset, hoping and praying that Harold Perkins will get home.
Yeah,
right. You got to send pressure. They did a much better job, okay, of calling things. Carter, we went out to practice last week, and the first thing I led off with was, man, they played bump and run man-to-man coverage on the outside, and it worked. Like they had some really good things that helped them. Like Ashton Stamps drops a pick, catches a pick in practice at LSU posted on Bryant Thomas Jr., who's going to the NFL. And we're just sitting here saying to ourselves, man, he put you in enough positions to win yesterday. You did not make the plays. Carter, they're there for outside zone. You got a white running back shaking Harold Perkins in the open field and running for 20 yards. That cannot happen. Carter, that cannot happen.
Yeah. Guys needed to step up and make plays.
And they did not. So I'm giving Matt House a pass on this Wisconsin game. I'm 1,000%. I mean, look, I'm there. Carter, tell me, did you think that they had guys called in and put in right situations and LSU's guys on the field just didn't execute?
Yes. In this game in particular, I actually do agree with that. I will tell you, I've not done the full defensive side of the football yet. I've mostly focused on what Garrett did in this game. Mm-hmm. And normally I rewatch the game immediately and put the film study up. But like you, I wanted to watch the college football playoff games because they're so good yesterday. Right. So also today, this is crazy. A pro offensive coordinator came to visit me here from Europe. And we got to watch some QB film and watch Nico and Garrett in particular. So I haven't really been able to watch the defense in particular, but just from the first watching of the game that every single one of you watched, I've not rewatched the defense yet. They were in position. Ashton Stance has got to make that play on that first drive.
No doubt.
JV and Toviano had some opportunities to make some plays.
Can't get beat on the double move.
I will give Toviano a lot of credit for making the touchdown saving tackle, though, to hold them to a field goal.
There at the end, no doubt.
Right.
Because they wind up kicking the field goal.
And that's the difference of the game.
That's the difference. You had that one stop that they had down in the red zone, won them the football game.
So I honestly thought Toviano did some really good things. I also saw JV and Toviano make one of the best tackles on the season when he was actually in a safety position, which I think is more of his natural position. Yeah. I thought he did some good things. Also, Blake, outside of Wingo and Smith, it was a tough day for the others to get off blocks. And that's the thing. You know, we've been begging for this guy to play or that guy to play. Yesterday was a really good day for Braden Swinson because he didn't play. And that was the one guy outside of those two that can get off blocks. And you missed him very dearly. So overall, a lot of difficult defensive decisions that they're going to have to make. But Blake, I'm really excited about this offense moving forward with Garrett Nussmeier.
All right. Want to get to him next. Carter, what do you do? Because,
I think go on.
Because I do think that so I want to go back to that drive where they kicked the 3 there at the end to get to 31 points. You give up the long play, Toviano makes the tackle. Well, the first play they run was the tackle for loss that Major Burns had in the backfield. That was a play call where he's just his only responsibility is the flat. He has no man. He has no zone. No zone in the back end. His job is to take care of the flat. He read it perfectly. He played it perfectly. He made the tackle in the open field. That put them behind the sticks. They cannot score. So we've seen them change something up now. Okay. And guys did not make plays when they needed to make plays. What do you think about moving forward into 2024?
Yeah, so I still think Matt House needs to go. All right. And look, I've defended him to a certain extent, Blake, but he's just not what we need. I'm a little bit more lenient with all other LSU sports outside of LSU baseball, right? You never settle for mediocre at LSU with LSU football. You shouldn't. And Matt House has been mediocre to bad. At best, mediocre this year. At very best. Also, Blake, there are players on this team that played a lot of snaps this year and didn't make enough plays. It's just that simple. And it's not just Omar Speights. It's easy to pile on Omar Speights. He's not a Louisiana guy. He's from Oregon State. It's a little bit easier to pile on him. But there are some tough conversations that need to be had about some of the guys that played a lot of snaps defensively. So it's going to be tough, right? Jordan Gilbert's coming in. He's going to want to play, right? But
he's going to start. I mean, he's going to start. Right.
I think at this point he's got to, with the way the safety play was yesterday. Major Burns got better as the game moved on. There were some tough moments mixed in there as well throughout the year with Major Burns. Andre Sam had a tough day, but guess what? Andre Sam was your best safety this year. He's gone. So that position needs to get revamped. Is it Jordan Allen? Is it somebody else? I don't know. And then obviously the linebacker position. Is it Greg Penn and Whit Weeks for sure next season? Do you feel 1,000% confident in those guys next year? Blake, I'm telling you right now, there has never been an opportunity for a true freshman to step in and play a lot next year like there will be next year with this defense, especially if they don't get any portal linebackers. BK might say, look, the last portal linebackers that have come into LSU with a lot of hype, they didn't produce. I'm going to trust my high school guys. Blake, I like Devon Keys a lot. I really do. I mean, this was a big-time producer at a big-time high school in Texas. Right. There's a lot of people that love Atkins, the young man coming in who was also insanely.
Tylen Singleton is just a dude.
He's a freak. He's long. He's athletic.
He looks like one of those old USC linebackers, like, you know, or even safety hybrids like Taylor Mays. Remember Taylor Mays?
I remember, and then Sua Cravens and those guys, right. I really do like this linebacker class a lot. Can they come in and be difference makers in year one? So there are very difficult questions to be asked, but this is my biggest thing. All right. I am not a coach. I know a lot of people reach out to me for film opinions. Okay. There's recruits that reach out to me to not so much like big Power 5 recruits, but like lower level guys that want me to watch your tape or whatever. This is just a basic defensive philosophy. Blake, this year, the edge never was set on this defense.
Ever.
It just wasn't set. Like it cost you the Ole Miss game in many ways. A lot of things cost you the Ole Miss game, mostly broken tackles. But I felt this year, I know you might disagree with me, but I felt this year LSU didn't have the best edge play. And maybe BJ Ojolari and Ali Gay did a lot more last year than we even give them credit for, because we missed both of those guys dearly. They struggled at those positions, the jack and the opposite side defensive end. And they need to figure out, what do you want to do defensively? And obviously that starts with whatever you want your defensive coordinator to be. So edge setting just was not there this year for this defense either.
Garrett Nussmeier had a massive game yesterday, Carter, in his first start. I tweeted this, but I'm going to say it publicly. Now, I know I've kind of hinted around it. We've talked about it a little bit. The best thing for me yesterday with Garrett Nussmeier was not the deep throw to Chris Hilton. I know he can hit wide receivers deep. Yeah. I know that he's got a really good arm. I know he's a gunslinger. I don't necessarily really mind the interception. You're trying to make a play. I will live with that. You made a right decision. You're trying to get it to the best receiver on the field, probably the best player on the field. I don't mind that at all. You know what the biggest thing for me that calms me down on Garrett Nussmeier moving forward? The check down to Caleb Jackson, okay, when he was normally – so they run a little seam route, okay? You have a safety that's baiting him. Normally, the old Garrett Nussmeier would have thrown that seam and it would have been picked. But he didn't have it, and he knew he didn't have it, so he didn't risk it. He goes, you know what? I got a dude named Caleb Jackson right here. I'm just going to dump it off to him. I'm going to let him go get some yardage. But the biggest – he's down 14 in that game twice. And not once did he get rattled. He comes down from a 98-yard drive, a lot like, you know what, it's a little like poetic justice. Because Jaden Daniels' legacy moment where at least I knew that he should be the starting quarterback was the 99-yard drive that he had against Florida State. That's when I knew. And he even said it publicly, like, look, man, you can't just do what that dude just did. What poetic justice it was on those three things. What did Garrett Nussmeier do for you yesterday that you saw?
Yeah, so, you know, the one thing that was told to me from someone close to Garrett Nussmeier was the intangibles, right? And it's kind of the same thing that was told to me about Jaden Daniels when he started. And with Garrett, it makes sense, right? His dad's coached everywhere. His dad's a very successful coach. And it's amazing how calm he was in this game. I'm going to give you one other thing that really stood out to me. And this was actually what the coach told me earlier today. And I said it on my live stream yesterday. It was a final touchdown to BTJ, right? Play clock's running down, and he was just lining everybody up. He was saying, hey, you go here, you go here, you go here. Yes. And then he gets the touchdown to BTJ. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous football IQ. Rocky first quarter, and he just kept getting better and better and better as the game moved on. Right. And something else, Blake, is the team really likes him. They really do.
Yeah. I do. When he threw that touchdown to Brian Thomas, and the way I know that you scored to go in to win, like I'm no, they reacted differently. Even the Chris Hilton touchdown, they were like, let's, you could see it, like there's a picture. So let me just show you this one. This is what this was our cover art for the night. You ready?
Yeah, that's it.
Look at this. Like, look at Brian Thomas Jr. in the background. Okay, he's looking at us like, that's a badass white boy right there. Like you remember the movie? Remember the Titans when they're like, when he hits the dude and he hurts him when he gets in the game, and he's like, hey, Blue, let him through. You remember that? And he knocks the dude's knees out from under him. He goes flipping him, and the guys walk up. They're like, that's a badass white boy. Tell me that that's not what Brian Thomas is looking like to Garrett Nussmeier after he just threw this touchdown to BTJ. Like,
I love it. I just love it.
That's what they were doing, bro. He was like, that's a cold white boy right there. But that right there tells me, as much as the Matt House body reaction with Mekhi Wingo told me how they felt about him, was the polar opposite of what the players felt like towards Garrett Nussmeier.
I agree, Blake. And look, Nuts is just good. I mean, there's just really no other way around it. He's just a good quarterback, right? So hopefully that continues into next season. He's going to have some rough starts mixed in there, but this guy's tough as nails. Mm-hmm. And as we said before, we knew Garrett Nussmeier could play, but could he start? The other team, this is Luke Fickell, legendary modern day coach, took Cincinnati to the college football playoff, and he had weeks to prepare for this, right? Mm-hmm. And just couldn't really stop him, and Garrett Nussmeier to come back with no Logan Diggs and in particular no Malik Neighbors was good. Here's my major takeaway, because I know we're short on time.
Yeah,
Joe Sloan, big day for him. Absolutely big day. I think you felt pretty comfortable with Joe Sloan, though. I felt pretty comfortable with him as well.
Well, you know what the different dynamic of it is, too? And look, I'm not going to keep him out of this conversation. I know that Joe Sloan, it was told by Brian Kelly that he would make the actual physical play call. You see Cortez Hankton?
Oh, well, what's your big takeaway? I'm interested.
Okay, the scoring drive. Remember, there was an injured player. Okay. And I think LSU came off to LSU comes off to the sidelines, or it might have just been Garrett. Cortez puts his microphone down, and they're talking one-on-one.
Good.
So let me tell you what I think happened there. I think Joe came down with the play call. Actually, I heard a little something. I heard that Joe came down with the play call. Cortez tells Garrett, hey, listen, Kyron's about to run a seam. They're about to run cover 2, and he's going to be wide ass open. So with that being said, Joe calling the play and Cortez knowing the passing game, okay, I really do believe from what little birdies are chirping in my ear have told me, Cortez is also a big part of this passing game that I think people are leaving out into this. Because Brian Kelly is going to mention this in his next press conference about Cortez. Listen to what I'm telling you now. And I'm doing this on a live show. I'm not doing this behind a phone call. I'm telling you, don't underestimate it.
I'm with you, man. I love it.
It was because Carter, he was so decisive going to Lacey on that scene, that 37-yard bomb. He knew instantly it was cover 2. He goes into the middle of the field. He gives a little, it's not a pump fake, but he gives a little shoulder jerk, and then he goes back to Kyron Lacey in the cover 2, in between the safety and the corner.
I love it.
Okay, sorry, I got a little nerdy.
No, that's great intel. That's why that's why people tune into to the AYS network. Here's what I would say though. Yesterday was the first great game from Chris Hilton. That was his first great game.
I agree with that.
He's had good games. Yet that was the first real great game.
That bomb, the catch in the end zone. Let me get your opinion on this, and I got to ask you about Dominic McKinley.
Okay, yeah.
The catch that he had for the touchdown could have gone either way. If he calls it incomplete, I don't think that they overturn it for a touchdown. But the bomb that he caught coming back to it and being focused was the better catch to me.
That's one of the best catches of the season, if you ask me, because it was underthrown, right?
Massively.
And you know, obviously Garrett's going to have to get better at that. That's something that Jaden, struggled with. And we know Garrett's got plenty of arms. You just don't want to overshoot him in that situation. Chris is a guy.
Undershoot me. Don't undershoot me, Paul.
Yeah. Okay. That was really one of the best catches of the season. And that's really saying something, knowing some of the catches we saw this year, if you factor in time, situation, and all of that. And that's why it really stood out to me with Chris Hilton, because most of the plays he's made have been good plays, but we've seen them against Grambling. We've seen them in not so great spots. This was the first time
now. It's his time.
Mm-hmm. So I've been a Chris Hilton skeptic. I've cheered for him because he's an LSU Tiger through and through. He's had plenty of opportunities to go elsewhere and be a clear-cut number 1 or number 2 option, but he really worked his ass off to get to where he is right now. And
he's been plagued with injuries, so you haven't had the ability, and then the two guys he comes in with, Malik and Brian Thomas, surpass him because he's hurt. They're not.
So this was, I think, more than anyone, he improved his stock on this team. And I'm really, really impressed with Chris. And I hope he could stay healthy, because I think after yesterday, I mean, those are really, really difficult plays he made. And he sees the opportunity, and obviously I want him to succeed. And then on top of this, Blake, what is really swept under the rug, and we kind of take it for granted, was the LSU offensive line was phenomenal again. And Charles Turner had a rough game in some spots, but Will Campbell, Emory Jones, the crew, they freaking murdered it again and again and again. It was a great performance. You could tell they were motivated because they didn't get the Joe Moore Award. They were phenomenal in this game versus Wisconsin.
Very quickly, because I know you got a show at 8:15. Is that right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Quick thoughts on Dominic McKinley, 5-star from Lafayette, committing to LSU on midnight on New Year.
Yeah, BK deserves a lot of credit. Obviously, doing the in-home a few weeks ago with Frank, that was obviously really good. It was good getting that on New Year's Eve. That's always a great reaction. What did you do for New Year's?
We had some people over.
Okay, good.
Some steaks, ribeyes.
Yeah, and
hey, hold on! I invited your crazy ass. What are you asking?
You did.
What
you did, man?
What I did? I invited you.
I did get the invite, and I would have loved to have been there.
You didn't show up. That's what
I was. Honestly, when I got the text, I was actually DJing a New Year's party, and what was so great about it was I had just started Boosie's Set It Off, and then dude, my body left my soul, and I think I actually recorded a video during the Cupid Shuffle and I tweeted it out or whatever, because everyone loves the line dances, and Cupid's a Louisiana legend, and he's a great guy too. He's one of the nicest guys. Little insider, he actually knows Malik. Lafayette legends right there. But man, I was on cloud nine, really excited. Obviously 5-star, the representation of, stealing someone from Texas A&M, and Dominic's got a long way to go, but I mean, raw talent wise, you see it, anyone could see it, and hopefully it all works out. Good stuff, BK. Good stuff. Let's go.
See you next Monday, buddy.
All right.
Well, no, we actually will not see you next Monday.
Oh, what are you doing? Or am I done?
National championship game.
Oh, yes. Okay, give me your opinion on this.
All right. I'll do my playoff segment with you, because we just did one on Rufino and Joe. I know this is where you're going.
No. Give me your quick opinion. The Jalen Milroe play, did he actually have a shot to get in?
I do believe he did.
I can't say with near certainty with that.
No, I'm not saying with near. No, you didn't. You asked me, do you think that there was a chance he could get in?
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a chance he could get in because the left guard sealed the edge, and he runs straight. If he follows his guard, he's in. Now he might have to break a tackle on the guy coming in, but that's not even another one. Carter, he had numbers on the outside on that screen. They had bump and run man-to-man coverage on the two receivers out there, no safety to help. The linebacker is going in motion and is drastically behind, okay, the running back. If he makes the decision to throw that screen, they score. Go back and watch it.
I'm with you. The low snap, though, probably made him panic.
Maybe. He could have made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich back there, then thrown it, okay, and he still would have scored. That's how bad the linebacker was behind the running back. Low snap my ass. He could have thrown it.
In these spots, so if I see a defender make a legendary play, I'm going to side with the defense. The number 5 for Michigan, I forget his name, I tweeted out this clip. That was as impressive of an edge set in a big moment versus JC freaking Latham, who's going to play in the NFL for a long time. JC Latham made the tackle, his own offensive lineman. The fact that he destroyed Latham that bad to trip Milroe in the backfield. That's an all-time great defensive play, kind of like the Washington DB making the all-time great defensive play versus Texas. I like seeing great defensive plays decide games, right? That's why the Chad Jones bat down versus Mississippi State is one of my all-time favorites, right? Or the strip sack of John Parker Wilson. You rarely see a defensive player get a big highlight moment like that with the game on the line. I'm glad number 5 for Michigan was able to get that done, baby.
We're back. No, they're not.
Yes. That's Sam Mellinger. That's right.
Yeah. No, they're not. You blew it. You absolutely blew it. You had one job and you blew it.
Quinn Ewers is still mid. Arch Manning will win that job. Let's do it.
No, he's not.
Let's go.
No, it ain't gonna happen. All right, we'll see you next Tuesday. Peace, buddy.
All right, buddy. Cheers. Huh?
All right, that's part of the Power. Bryant. He's got his show coming up at 8:15. Y'all can go over there and check it out as well. We just did that with him. Go over to Ruffino and Joe show if you want our takes on my take on the playoffs. Black Goatee with a $2 super chat says middle wasn't set either. What middle specifically, Black Goatee, were you talking about? Tommy Brooks says, I've always thought of Mason Smith could really be effective as a strong side end and a 4-man front, a.k.a. Cam Jordan. And my off base is his speed, his issue. Yeah, I don't think he's as athletic as Cam Jordan. I understand the your thought there, right? Like I 1,000% understand your thought there. He's just not as athletic as Cam. Which, look, they put him at the end when Orgeron was here. It didn't work for him. I think he's an interior guy, And so, with that being said, it is what it is. All right. See y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good night. Peace.